So just mechanics, right? Just mechanics. So practice this over the weekend and next week, and it'll be fun. It's an easy. This is actually again. This can be made difficult, but I said I would mainly, you would be tested mainly on. This looks like chapter 2A, right? The base. Without this customer service, etc. So this is actually an easy chapter because they're all pretty much the same. You just have to follow the process mechanics, and that's it. There's not much other than making a mistake in error in calculations, or there's not much thinking here to do. Now, yes, the full version of ABC can be made challenging by a lot of detail. If you're asked to identify how much of this will go into, product cost versus not product cost, shipping versus the customer support, etc., and then that can be made difficult. We covered this one with the difference between product margin versus customer margin, etc. So, 715, 716. Okay, any questions about this? So you have a lot of good problems to practice here. A lot. Any questions? No? Let me actually look at the well, actually, the ones that I posted in practice problems, those are the type of questions that you will see on the exam. So this is from 2A, right? So something like this is more relevant again than those. Okay, here we have, for example, we have general factory, right? General factory. That's fine. You have to include them in your ABC calculation. So I know Miao said, and that's fine. That's great. Clearly she's studying. But a general factory. What was the phrase? Organization sustaining, right? But we did not have any allocation basis, right? So that's really the main thing. But here we have general factory, but we do have allocation base. It says machine hours. So you will clearly include this in your calculation of your ABC, right? This is traditional. But let's go to work. Yes, Elise.
So just to clarify, we wouldn't exclude something unless it has the NA by it?
Yes, yeah, I would go like that. Yes. Yes, even though it said, it says here general factory. So again, as Miao said, well, over there in the lecture we have general, but it says also if you want to be really like nitpicking, it says organization sustaining, and also it does not have any allocation basis. So how are you going to find the rate when you don't have allocation base? right? In this case, you do have a location base. It's clearly identified, machine hours. So you definitely have to include this in your calculations. So this is the type of look or problem, that you want to know. Something like this. So you're looking here for, let's say, X active. You are looking for direct materials, direct labor. You identify them wherever they are here, and then you're looking to find overhead, right? So you say you have 1 rate, 2 rates, 3 rates, 4 rates, because you have allocations for all of them. You have pools for all of them. You have allocation bases identified for all of them. So you will find 4 different POA jars. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you will multiply those POA jars. And as you can see, I would probably recommend, but again, totally your call, as long as you don't get, you don't get yourself into so many decimals, and decimals will not be a problem on the exam, by the way. So if you're getting a lot of decimals here, you're doing something wrong. But it's up to you. You can do it per unit right away here, right? This per unit, this per unit, this per unit, this per unit. And then you just sum them up and you get this number. That's fine. But I would recommend you multiply your rate by the usage. So you get your number here, 253,750. You multiply your rate by the usage, and then you get 425,000. You multiply your rate by the usage, you get 325,000. Okay, this is a good example too, right? You have here 650 total. Number of products. And number of products is 2. Each one is 1 and 1. So how much will each one get? Well, they will get half, right? So that's what Aliza was saying before. Can I just do, 1 is 50% of half, and that's just 50% of this? Yes, of course. Can you do 250 divided by 400 here, then get some percentage ratio, and then multiply by this? Yes, you would get exactly this number, 425. Same thing for all of them. But I would recommend doing it the right way. So you're doing it, the question might be the rate or whatever. So then you're just following the proper procedure. So you say, I'm finding my rate here. So now I have final rate 725 times usage, 2,500 here, which gives me 18,125. You sum up all of these 4 together, you get 1,021,000, and then you divide by total number of units that you're working with, which is 25,000 units, and you get $40.875. You plug them in here, and this is your total, right? And again, this is a good example, because you can compare this example, or in this problem, you can compare ABC also with this, without any of the detail of the main chapter 7, right? Like shipping and customer service and this. So I would recommend like these problems definitely. But yes, Kristen.
Professor, so like if we get the answer that cannot, including the allowed decimal, which means it's not a clean answer, then that very likely the answer is incorrect.
Yeah, I will send you information about the exam again over the weekend, and there will be no decimals in filling questions, for example. So if you're getting decimals, that means it's wrong.
Thank you.
Yeah. I didn't want to deal with you to deal with, and then me to deal with. I didn't round this to whatever. There are no decimals in the final answer, and I believe there are no decimals. But I mean, it's still your responsibility. So I cannot say, like it's absolutely. I don't think there are any decimals even in intermediate answers. But again, that's your responsibility. So if for example, I don't think it's the case, but again, you have, I cannot guarantee that 100%, so I have to kind of just put a disclaimer. So if you have in intermediate calculation 12.5 and 13.5, then the total is what, 26. Well, this one doesn't have any decimals, so you should be able to get this right. But I don't believe there are decimals even in these intermediate answers, right? So with whatever you do, so so decimals are not the problem on the exam, period. There's nothing like 13.873. What am I going to now do with this? Should I round it to these two? Should I round it to this one here? Should I round it to 14? Or no, there's nothing like it. Okay, so these are the good problems. These are good problems to practice. Any questions? All right, very good. This was a nice review of chapter 7, and just practice it. I mean, there's nothing really else in chapter 7. Let's get ahead a little bit. So we give ourselves some breathing space for the second part of the class, because we eliminated that 4B thing, which I don't regret at all. It's a totally minor topic, step down allocation, and it's like just mechanics. So we are doing well. So in terms of time, so let's get ahead. So this is not on the midterm. Just making it clear, right? This is not on the midterm. This will be on the final, of course, variable and super variable costing. Maybe super variable, not actually, but because the same thing is variable. Just, the idea is the same, just taking some information out. And we will see that, so you can relax now, I guess. This is not about the midterm anymore. This is for the second part of the class, which I'm sure you will have a chance to go back to. But we are getting into a kind of a new part of the class, right? Yeah. With this topic. It's kind of a good transition, so I moved it actually here immediately to after this chapter 7, because we still see here a little bit of overhead. We will continue seeing overhead in future chapters, but it will not be the main emphasis of our topics. Right? Everything will not revolve just around overhead and calculating overhead in like 100 different ways, and finding cost per unit, etc. We will be looking for cost per unit and else, and cost in general. But the topics will be a little bit different, and I hope they will be a little bit more interesting. Maybe some of you like overhead, maybe because it's kind of okay, I know it, I understand it, I'm just doing it kind of, all problems are the same, as I said earlier. In the second part of the class, actually, some students maybe find actually a little bit challenging, because there's more way to think about things, but we'll cover all of it now. So this is a good transition to our second part of the class. So variable costing, well, the word says variable, right? So kind of the focus is on variable costs. And we will be using contribution margin format. And we will be using contribution margin format from now on a lot. The second part of the class, a lot, almost exclusively. We will see, traditional format here and there. But almost exclusively we will be using contribution format. So we will be splitting costs into variable and fixed. Right? Now, this is not completely true here in terms of splitting costs into variable and fixed. But again, that's why it's a good transition. Right? Good transition. Kind of a mixed thing. So comparison between traditional absorption cost and variable cost. Well, as we know, in job costing, traditional costing, according to GAAP, we have product costs, cost of goods sold, right? Which consists of, we know, direct materials, direct labor, and manufacturing overhead, variable and fixed costs. We would just call it usually just overhead but we know it consists both of variable and fixed. And then separately, we have period cost, S&A. Now, in variable costing, we have also product cost and we have period cost, or I would rather call them non-product cost than just period cost, but either way. And now they don't consist of the same things like here, right? Product costs, they consist of direct materials, direct labor, and manufacturing overhead. So you can see all of them are variable. Direct labor is variable, direct materials are variable, and manufacturing overhead is variable. They're all variable cost, right? But we don't include, so they're not completely purely variable, like in a contribution margin format, strictly, because S&A variable are still down with period cost, or again, non-product cost, or S&A cost. But you see, if you notice, I don't call them S&A cost, I say non-product cost or period cost. I don't say S&A cost. Why? Because we have manufacturing overhead down here, fixed, moved from here down below. Right. Why? Because we make an assumption, right, that manufacturing overhead are fully fixed. So we expense them in full. And now this might make sense to somebody might have asked, like a long time ago in chapter 1, or somebody might have said maybe, well, or maybe I have said, why are the wages, let's say, wages in the factory, we're paying them in period or depreciation, right? Why are they not in the period cost? And then we talked about this one. Because they're in the product cost, so that's more important, so they belong in the product cost. But as you can see here, we move those costs actually that are fixed, that are, if you want, paid periodically, strictly, regularly. We move them into period cost. And if you want a shortcut for this whole chapter, or this topic, it's not a whole chapter, it's part of chapter 6. If you want a shortcut for this, which I will repeat over and over again, for this whole topic of variable costing, the difference between these two are simply here. That's it. Everything else is exactly the same, as you can actually see from this slide. All these three are here in the same spot as these three here. And these two are here in the period S&A cost, same as these two here. So this is completely identical. So the only thing that is different between these two ways of looking at these costs, between traditional costing and variable cost, is that manufacturing overhead costs fixed are included in product cost, normally, right? Under traditional, but they are included or excluded here and moved to period costs. And on top of it, that they are moved, they are expensed in full. They are expensed in full. Here, they are expensed basically on average, right? They are spread over units that are produced. So, like we use POHR, we use some rate, right? Here we will just spread the cost over unit. So we will see now in a second how this works. So every time, I will remind you again, every time you see a problem like this, again, this is now 4 or 5 weeks ahead, but every time you see a variable costing problem or in your connect or whatever, you know that the only difference between, let's say, net operating income, that's usually the question. The only difference between these two statements is in manufacturing overhead fixed. Manufacturing overhead fixed. On one side, normally spread over units, and on the other side, expensed in full in a different place, and not included in product cost. That's it. So it's a very simple topic, very simple chart. The only reason why is so discuss. Every time there's a difference between, so now we will discuss this further. Every time there's a difference between a number of units produced and sold, meaning every time there's a change in inventory, there will be a difference in net operating income between job costing and variable costing. Why? Because under job costing, some of the fixed manufacturing overhead that are spread over units will be deferred in the unsold inventory, finished goods, right? But fixed manufacturing will be included in variable costing as a period expense and expensed in full. So this is in let's look at this to an example. Normal form. Now let's look at the practical sense. So this company is producing a single product. The number of units produced annually is 25,000. So they produce the 25,000 units annually every year, right? These are the variable costs per unit. Direct materials, direct labor, and variable overhead is 10, and selling and admin expenses are 3. This is irrelevant. This is, irrelevant in terms of product cost. This is down with period cost, S&A expense. Now, fixed costs per year. Manufacturing overhead 150, selling and admin expenses 100. Right. Manufacturing overhead 150. This is important as far as fixed. Unit product cost, continuing with my color scheme. Unit product cost is determined as follows. Under regular costing, absorption costing, we have variable costs here, $10. And then we have fixed manufacturing overhead, which is 150 fixed manufacturing overhead total divided by 25,000 units produced, always produced, right? Because those are units that we produced. We have to spread these fixed costs over produced units. So we get $6. So that's a total of 16. As you can see, under variable costing, as the word says variable cost, only variable costs are included in product cost. Variable meaning production product cost, not S&A cost. So only 10. Okay, everybody following? So we have unit product cost here 10. So now, let's assume the following additional information. 20,000 units were sold. There's no beginning inventory. Compute net operating income using both absorption and variable cost. Absorption means traditional regular costing, right? And variable cost. So how many units were produced?
$20,000 because there's no beginning inventory.
No, how many units were produced? I'm not sure what you meant, Kristen, by $20,000, but I'm asking about units. How many units were produced? 25,000, right? 25,000. Says Vera and MV. So, right, so it's here. 25,000 were produced, correct? Everybody?
Yes. Yes.
But only 20,000 were sold. Where are the 5,000 units? Where are the 5,000 units?
Is it deferred in the unsold inventory?
Okay, well, what does that mean?
Or that we're allocating it differently in a way that under this method we're not using that? Or yeah.
No. Simpler terms. Okay, Damuna says here, ending finished goods. That is correct. So, make it simple, Chairman. Make it simple. So, 5,000 units that were not sold are in finished goods inventory. Yes? Jennifer, yes?
Yes, I get it now. Thank you.
So, 5,000 units are in finished goods. They are not sold. 20,000, of course, are now in cost of goods sold on the income statement, but 5K are still on the balance sheet. They are not on the income statement because they are not sold. Now, what do these 5K include? What do these 5K include? What costs do these 5K include? Okay, Damuna says direct materials, direct labor, and manufacturing overhead. That is correct. You cannot forget manufacturing. So they include, these 5K units include direct materials, direct labor, and manufacturing overhead. Now, this manufacturing overhead is what?
Fixed and variable.
Excellent, Alisa. Both fixed and variable. Now, variable is fine because we track them down to these units and everything. Fixed, we got, if you remember from the previous slide, we said fixed we got per unit by dividing what was 150K divided by 25K produced units, right? And we get what? $6 per unit. $6 per unit. Yes, everybody agrees? Is $6 here?
Yes.
So we have 150K divided by 25K units is equal to $6 per unit. How much of these 150K will be expensed on the absorption statement, on a regular statement? How much of these 150K will be expensed on the regular statement? Well, what's the rate per unit? $6 per unit. How many units did we sell? Damuna says 20,000 times 6. Excellent, Damuna. Excellent. Damuna says $6 times 20,000 units. Those are sold, right? That's in our cost of goods sold. Of course, also labor and materials and everything, and variable overhead. But talking just about fixed overhead, 150K here. 6 times 20,000 is 120K. But we spend 150K. Where is 30K? Where is 30K?
In finished goods inventory.
30K is in finished goods. Very good. $6 per unit times these 5K here is 30K. Now, so this is what we are expensing on the absorption cost instead. And why we are expensing 120? Well, because we sold 20,000 units and the rate is 6. The difference to 150 is simply in the finished goods. But how much are we going to expense on the variable statement? How much are we going to expense on the variable statement? How much are we going to expense on the variable statement? Says 150. That is again correct. The full amount it says here, expensed in full. Expensed in full. So you see that the only difference between these two statements, direct materials and everything will be the same, but the only difference will be that on the variable statement we will expense full 150K, full 150K. So 30K will be the difference between them. Why? Because 30K is still in the inventory, not expense for the absorption statement, but for the variable statement, it doesn't matter. We expense full 150K, regardless of how many we sold. We expense it because we have 150K expense. We say it's fixed, it's a period cost, we just expense the whole thing. So that's the whole chart back here, right? Now, when we reverse this, we will see in a second. When we reverse this and we sell maybe more units in the next period, because some of these units come out of the inventory, then the situation will reverse, right? So, which one of these statements here, this one or this one, will have a higher net operating income?
The top one.
The top one, the absorption, right? Of course, because it has a lower cost, 120. Variable, we expense more for fixed cost, 150. So it will have a lower net operating income for $30,000. Right, very good, excellent. Excellent. Okay. So this is the variable statement. This is the variables. Actually, let's look at the absorption first. We are used to the absorption. So this is the absorption statement, right? These are the sales. Nothing will change with sales, and of course, net operating income. You remember from chapter 1, we're just rearranging costs in between, looking at them differently. That doesn't mean that, well, no, I should say nothing will change with net operating income. They will be different, right?
$5. $6.25. you, Professor. 하임. 저는 스터디 윈미겠다. 스터디 윈미 했다. 저기 봤어? 자기 들어온 줄 키자마자 누구 한 명 들어왔던데. 아니, 수업 시작했을 때. 야. 응. 응? 안 보이잖아. 안 들려. 에어팟 꼈어. 응. There's only 2 people. 클락.